So during my younger years, I was always the child who competed in every event during the school athletics carnivals, whether it be the 100 meters, the 200 meters, the shot put, the discus, the 800 meters, the 1500 meters, you name it. I was in it and competing. And one of the main reasons why was I loved competing. I liked pushing myself and I liked seeing where I match up against my peers and obviously winning and beating them. So that was one aspect. The other aspect was I was very patriotic and I loved scoring points for my schoolhouse, which was Macquarie at the time, which we had a legacy of winning every single school based cross country and athletics carnival for all the years that I was at that school till year 6. So naturally I wanted to contribute to that legacy. But aside from those things, the thing that motivated me the most to compete was my mum. She used to be a great 800 meter and 1500 meter, athlete, runner, being coached by my pa. And she would always make it away to the state and national level for those events, and also cross country as well. And she was so good that in year 10, she represented Australia and went over to compete in the US for the 800. So she did well. And at my primary school and high school, they had a sporting wall of fame dedicated to all the students in the school hall for the students who made it away to the state and national level and represented the school. So every time we had assembly, I would look up at the wall of fame and see my mum there. And I always wanted and thought to myself, man, I want to be up there one day and join her on that wall as well and be in a frame. So for competing in all the events at the school-based athletics carnivals from year 2 to year 6, I started to learn what events I was better at than others. So for me, the field events, I was rubbish at. Never really excelled at all in them, so I didn't really bother thinking about that too much. And then for the sprints, specifically the 100 and the 200, I noticed I was better than average at doing, where I placed first to third at the school-based athletics carnivals. And then for the 800 and the 1500 meter, that one I always did well at, no matter what. And even at the next level as well, at the zone level, I would be very competitive as well. Now, this is how it's structured. I'm not sure how it's structured in your country, but here in Australia, from where I'm from, it's structured like this. So first you have the school athletics carnival, where the top 2 in that event will progress onto the zone athletics carnival, where the zone is you competing against all the schools in your town. So for me, it was Albury. Then from there, you progress to regional, where you compete against all of the towns in your region. So for me, it was the Riverina. And then from there, you compete against all the regions in your state. So for me, that was New South Wales. And then progressing from that point, it's national. So all the states in Australia. So at this point, I started to notice that the 800 meters was an event that I was pretty good at, but it wasn't too clear for me at this point in time. And the cool thing is I still have some ribbons of when I competed during primary school. So just so you know that I'm not joking about it and lying, here is some of the proof that I've got for you. So there you go. So when I moved into high school in year 7, I still was competing in all the events I could at these athletics carnivals, but I started to notice a bit more differences. So in the sprints, I started to notice that I wasn't competing and being as competitive as I was in primary school, and I started to place 3rd and 4th. So I was still better than average, but not the best. But with the 800 and the 1500, I still remained very competitive and was still winning those events during high school. And I was doing so well that I started to consistently make it into the regional level, representing my town against all the other towns in my region, the Riverina. Until 2019, I made it away for the first time ever to state, which, you guessed it, the 800 meters, which I ran a time of 2 minutes and 19 seconds, placing me 17th in the state in the under 15s for the 800, which, as I know, it's not fast, but it's all I could do. Because at the time, you remember, I wasn't applying myself. I wasn't following a structured training plan. All this fitness that I've built up was just from me playing soccer for 3 years for that period, me playing chasey around the ovals, and everything else, not following a structured plan. Because at that time, I wasn't applying myself. So from that point of finally making it to state for the first time in the 800, I thought to myself that to give me the best chance to make it on the Wall of Fame to join my mum, it's best that I stick to the events that I'm good at. And clearly the 800 is something that is signaling to me that I'm having the most success with, and this is going to be my best shot of achieving that goal. Then it was 2022. It was my last year of high school, and my last time I'm going to have a school athletics carnival. So I thought to myself, if I actually applied myself and actually started following a regular training schedule, how far could I truly go? Could I finally make it on this Wall of Fame that I've always wanted to be on ever since kindergarten? So I started training with my best friend, waking up at 5 a.m. every morning on Tuesday and Thursday to go for a run up our local hill called Red Light Hill. And my friend at the time, he was training to make it to state for the first time for cross country, because the year prior, he missed out by one place on making it to state for the first time. So he didn't want to take any chances. Which, long story short, we both ended up making it to state for cross country. So later that year, the first school athletics carnival comes around. And I ended up placing first with a time of 2 minutes and 22 seconds for the 800, which is not fast at all. So later that day, I thought to myself, if I'm going to have a chance at making it on this Wall of Fame, I'm going to have to run a much quicker time than that to do it. So I started doing a ton of research on the 800, and I stumbled across this YouTube channel called Nick Symmonds, which is run by a two-time 800 meter Olympic runner who has a PB of 1:42 for the 800. And that's when I started to learn about the mythical 2-minute barrier that every 800 meter runner aspires to break. So I decided that that was going to be my ticket to making it on there. So I started training at my local football oval where my pa used to train my mum, doing 400 meter and 200 meter repeats that Nick Symmonds used to do for his training. Then when it came to the zone level, I faced against one of my rivals during high school who would always beat me at all the running events. So he was primarily a cross-country runner, but then the year before, he decided to start doing athletics now, and he bet me at my own events in the 800 meter and 1500 meter. So now that I've been training, I knew that I'm not going to let this happen again. So the stakes were high. And I ended up beating him, placing first for the first time at the zone level, running a new PB of 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So still not fast, but progressing on. And then I progressed onto the Riverina level, and I'm versing him again. Now, it turns out that last time I raced him, he had COVID. So I still wanted to prove that it doesn't matter whether he's sick or not, I'm going to beat him. So I do the race again, and I beat him. I come first for the first time in Riverina, and I get a new PB of 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So pretty good. So then a few weeks later, I ran at the state championships in Sydney. My mum drove me up, and I made sure that everything was ready. This was my last shot to qualify. This was my last shot for me to make it on that Wall of Fame. Don't get another chance. So most of the people coming into this race put in a seed time for 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And my seed time coming into this was 2:08. So I knew that in the heats, I would have to run a PB for me to qualify for the finals the next day. So I run the heats. I go out in 26 seconds for my first 200. So going all out because I didn't know what to expect. And I ended up going through the 455 seconds. And it turns out that at the 400 meter mark, I had a lead of 60 meters on my competition. So I went out a bit hard, but I didn't know what else to do. And then for the last 200 meters, I get overtaken by two dudes. And I ended up finishing the race in third place with a new PB of 2 minutes and 4 seconds. So I qualified for the finals the next day. Now the finals rock up. Oh, I was so nervous that day because I knew that this was my moment that I've been training for the past 3-4 months. Finally applying myself. I knew that this was my final opportunity to prove that I can make it on that wall of fame that I desired. So I run the race and I'm running it pretty well, and I end up holding on to third for the last 100 meters, and then my form starts to collapse because I'm trying so hard, and my form collapses just like in what happened in a previous video that I made reviewing a race that I did, which you can check out there. And I started to collapse and I get overtaken. And I place 4th in the state. And I miss out on 3rd place by 50 milliseconds. And that ends up being also what I missed out on making it on the Wall of Fame. So I was pretty dead. And I run the time of 2 minutes and 1 second. So I dropped my time by 21 seconds over that span. So at that moment, I realized based off my progressions that I've made over such a short amount of time that this is my event. And I have so much unfinished business and potential. And the question still remains, how far can I truly go? And that's one aspect that fuels my running quest and this journey of this YouTube channel today. This is always why I say at the end of my video, every video, it's never too late to start your dreams, because that was a limiting belief that I had at the start of that journey where, I'm versing people who've been running ever since they're 3 and 4 and all these ridiculous ages. Like, who in their right mind at 4 years old knows, hey, I'm going to train for this. Like, I'm just going to commit to running. People do. More power to them. I wish I had the same thing, but I didn't. And that's a belief that it's too late, that I'm always coming across against people I meet, and then also myself having to destroy it. And I know I'm not the only one who gets faced with this limiting belief. So I believe that a part of my running quest and me achieving it and its purpose is to disprove this idea that you have to start at ridiculous ages. I'm here to prove that it doesn't matter what age that you start at, whether it be later in life or not, that if you have the right determination and drive to achieving that quest, then you can make it happen no matter what. So like always, it's never too late to start your dreams.